Welcome to Meet the Makers. I'm Julie Smithson, co-founder of Metaverse, co-founder of XR Women, and host of the Polly's WebXR Awards. Our team brought you the WebXR Summit Series and Meta Traversal Initiative, and now, Meet the Makers. Next, Polly's director, Jenna Lambert, is joining us to introduce the next and final segment of this episode. Hey, Jenna.
Hey, Julie.
Great job directing the Pollys.
Thank you, Julie, for your fantastic work hosting. This group creates some great things together, don't we?
And that we do. And that's why we asked you to introduce our next and final story for this episode on the illustrious team that pulled off something pretty incredible. The first volumetric awards show broadcast. Tell us all about it, Jenna.
Thanks, Julie. Well, it was an honor and a delight to work with 3 specific groups on this first of its kind task. They came together like chefs in a kitchen at Scatter's headquarters, their R&D stage at Zero Space. And with the frenzy of a 48-hour film festival, they pulled off a monumental feat. It was amazing. We are grateful for their work and proud of their epic, groundbreaking results. From colorful animated portals to rigged camera fly-ins, this team demonstrated the power of volumetric video. Here to share their collaboration are Kaz, Christy, James, Corey, and Elena.
I'm James George, co-founder and CEO at Scatter. And we make a product called DepthKit, which is the world's most widely used tool for creating volumetric video human holograms.
Hi, so I'm Corey Allen. I am the lead technical producer at Scatter. My role is to continue our efforts in R&D and test our software against all of the wonderful and challenging use cases that people bring to us.
I'm Elena Peach. I'm a creative producer here at Zero Space, and I'm just really excited by all things 3D.
My name's Austin Kane, and I'm also known as Kaz in the XR space. I am a photographer commercially and professionally for about 20 years now, and I have recently, in the last few years, started 3D modeling and doing more immersive design in the VR and XR spaces.
I'm Christy Finnison, and I'm an immersive storyteller, 3D artist, 360 videographer, and interactive simulation developer.
Before founding Scatter, I was an artist and computer scientist. I was the first artist in residence at Microsoft Research. I was the first to use volumetric video in an interactive documentary. The 0 Days VR, created by Scatter, was the first 6 Degrees of Freedom experience to win a news and documentary Emmy. We've also been nominated for a second Emmy for our project just in 2021 called The Changing Same VR, which is about race in America.
I loved digital media all throughout grade school, tinkering in Photoshop and all of the digital tools I could get my hands on. Went to school for cinematography and jumped into a career of film and television.
Originally, I started off in journalism, and I was at a journalism conference where Google News Lab did a session on this really cool thing called 360 video. And I just remember having the cardboard headset on and just looking around and thinking, wow, this is such an amazing storytelling tool. I was the marketing manager for the Glimpse Group, which is a VR AR investment company. And it was really fantastic working at Glimpse just because I got to see the wide use cases of AR and VR.
My first real foray into the space was through AltSpace. I simply just wanted to make a video game at the time, but AltSpace was a Unity-based platform and allowed me to take what I was already working on and move it into a VR space, which just opened up an entire new realm of design possibilities and even understanding of my own work.
I started my tech journey at UNC while I was still a student, working with things like ArcGIS and 3D modeling to plan and visualize sustainable spaces. Soon I fell in love with the storytelling and learning aspect of 3D and then VR. I worked in various VR labs across campus, and my master's thesis project was the creation of a patient point of view VR simulation that placed learners into the patient's perspective during a trauma resuscitation, with the goal of improving understanding for the patient perspective, empathetic communication skills, and teamwork. I am passionate about creating experiences that expand perspectives to inspire action. And I enjoy bringing big picture concepts to life through that interplay of meaningful details and key touch points for people who are within the experience.
We're able to start to get at this notion of blending video game worlds and cinematic worlds and tell real dramatic or nonfiction stories featuring real people and real places in these virtual worlds and make them participatory, interactive, and shared social experiences. I believe that as we make breakthroughs in new technologies, there's always new ways of telling stories that are relevant to our current moment, because technology and the way we connect through it defines so much of how we understand the world and how we relate to one another.
And in 2016, when the folks at Scatter introduced me to the concept of volumetric video and telling cinematic stories in video games, I think something really resonated with me where the people who were in this space were very intentional about doing something challenging and really living on the bleeding edge of technology in order to tell a story that was really important to them.
I remember when I went to go into Zero Space for my first tour, and I walked into the facilities and I just saw all of the tech that they had, from the virtual production stage to the motion capture stage to the large studio space. And I just thought, how could I say no to an opportunity like this, especially because my previous career had been focused on enterprise immersive technologies.
Being a photographer has helped in the space where, my eye for color and spatial design or spatial layouts have helped with the creation of worlds, being able to sort of feng shui the pathways, if you will.
And it was in alt space that I got to see firsthand a whole other layer to reality, seeing the true sense of community and connection that was living within social VR. And this opened my eyes to so many additional possibilities within the VR space.
You can see with both of our cameras right now, one of the clues that we build in that's very subtle is the idea of a drifting camera in virtual space that shows, being able to move the camera. I can spin it around. James is also spinning his camera around. I can just use this remote control in my hand to take full control of the camera. I can spin it around. I can change the environment around me. And now appear in this trippy, mushroom-filled, particle-filled 3D world. And as I spin around and maybe see that there's this crazy big frog right in front of me, I can even beam myself away to safety. And because we're in a video game, and I'm talking from a disembodied figure, teleport myself over to this log over here where now I'm fully safe and away from the dangers of fire and gigantic frogs. So I bring all this up because this is our tool in action.
We have access to some of the most advanced production technologies in the world, and it's really amazing that we're not only able to work on really high-end client projects, but also focus on initiatives that give back to the community. And that's why we were super excited to be involved with this year's Poly Awards. We thought that it was absolutely groundbreaking to have an award show that involved the LED XR stage, involved volumetric capture, involved all the amazing creators that the Polys team honored this year.
Our work with Ben Irwin in the past on the Polys Awards and in the Summit series that he's done, when he brought the third annual Polys to life in Zero Space in Brooklyn, New York, for a live experience, we were introduced to James George and Corey Allen from Scatter.
And the very talented team at Causing Christie took one of their environments from AltSpace, adapted it for use in this kind of context, and we were able to seamlessly stream our volumetric assets into their virtual Unity world.
The coolest part about what we're doing is not that we're putting video into a digital world, but it's that we can then fly a camera around this video. We took the existing Polys world that we had built for AltSpace, and we used it as our environment and our stage for these volumetric presentations. And so during the show, we had Julie Smithson and Sophia Masasha and a few others who would come into the cage and then have a guest come in as well, and they would interview them live volumetrically Meanwhile, we took that little volumetric capture, put it into our world. We were able to direct Cinemachine cameras to fly around and move in and give a more realistic sense of 3D presence rather than just a flat video straight in front of you. It really helped sell the effect of them being in the world itself in a full volumetric way.
We had them show up in different parts of the world. Because it's volumetric, we wanted to show off how they really are, spatially present in the space so that you could see that, this isn't just like a green screen. They are 3D in the space.
As people came on and off stage, rather than just kind of materializing out of thin air, out of little blocky pixels, he just hit a key on the keyboard and a little portal would pop up. And people could walk through it.
So right before the guest would step into the volumetric capture, thus appearing in the Unity world, we would open the portal and the portal door would whoop, raise up right next to our host. So as they in the physical world walked into the stage, they essentially were walking out of this portal and onto the little stages that we had set up throughout the world. Then we'd bring the portal back up and they'd be like, oh, looks like it's time for me to go. See you later. And they'd walk through the portal and out of the 3D world.
It really helps tell the story and really gets people comfortable with the idea of, oh, this is what it means to be fully 3D in a virtual environment.
It was a wild ride. I think we had about 3 days to get in there really quickly. Thankfully, James and Corey were super helpful and very open to working with us and teaching us and getting us up to speed.
We got to learn from them as they were doing it and really appreciated how hands-on they were with helping us get all those settings right.
One of the dreams for us that the Polys really was a step towards is the ability to actually be streaming the hologram, the volumetric video into an interactive environment for the audience to then choose their own perspective. We have the capability to do that now of streaming the actual interactive hologram into a virtual world, and then that can be experienced in social VR, for example. So we're actively working with a lot of these platforms to embed our playback engine so that our creative community, the users of DepthKit, can then stream or embed volumetric video holograms into those environments, and that opens up a huge channel of distribution.
It was just amazing to be part of this production. And I think one really important thing to highlight is, to the best of our knowledge, this was the first ever award show to use real-time volumetric capture, which was really awesome that we were able to do something so groundbreaking. The super exciting thing about working within the immersive tech space is all of these workflows, all these interaction paradigms, they're not yet written yet. And I think that that's what makes it most exciting, is we're really pioneering this whole new industry. And I think for us, for people that work in this space, it's ultimately our job to really think about what are the best ways that people are going to interact with each experience. If we make really fantastic experiences, we're going to make more consumers excited for the potential of this space, thus boosting its adoption and its growth. And that's really why we're all here, because we see that future, and it's our job in making sure that that future happens.
That was unforgettable, and we were there as part of the action.
And what a night it was. It's so great to hear how it all came together, and in their own voices too. I can honestly say that their work elevated our show and set a high bar for us and others. Julie, can you imagine what's next? It's so exciting to think of what's possible now.
Absolutely, and I can't wait until next year. Thanks so much for joining us, Jenna.
See ya, Julie.
Bye. Take care.